Hi, my name is Paul.
And I'm Olivia.
And this is Breaking New Roots. This is a different kind of video. We're kind of doing a follow-up to one of our more popular recent videos where we got water set up on our 24-acre homestead that we are leasing. We tapped a spring, got a spring box, got a cistern, and we've been doing it since 1st of November, so now it's been 3 months.
It was the middle of November, I think.
Either way, thanks technicality.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Probably closer to the end of November before we got the water set up.
Right. Well, we got it set up before we did anything else.
That's true.
So no.
That's very true.
So
okay,
anyway,
so it was the 1st of November.
You're fine. So anyway, we had lots of questions, lots of comments, some good ideas, lots of good ideas,
Yeah.
and a lot of really great ideas.
Thank you guys for those.
And then a lot of questions about whether it would freeze or not, or what it would look like in the wintertime. And I didn't know at the time. But
we
now,
thought for sure that a big body of water is going to take a lot to freeze, but that was also before having 2 Arctic blasts back to back. So we were not in any way, shape, or form prepared for this kind of cold in Southern Virginia. But I think we've done it. I mean, it's fine. It's been flowing. Our spring has not stopped flowing at all. The management has been different at the camper,
right,
with the freezing temperatures, but otherwise, I can't say that we've been without water.
No, and I think that I didn't know whether it would freeze or not. I mean, coming into winter, we just got here. We didn't really know the landscape too much. It was kind of a gamble, the spring that we even tapped, how it would do. And it's like 25, 30 degrees right now.
Yeah.
And I've also filled it up into the teens when we got between Arctic blasts. I try to keep our tank full at the top of the hill as best we can, and then that way I know I always at least have 275 gallons at the top, another 275 at the bottom, and if it were to freeze, then I would have it, but it's been non-stop flowing. So
yeah, even that one time we dumped 250 gallons of water on the ground and had to come back a couple hours later and refill. The thing was full.
That's a great segue to some of the great tips we got.
Yeah, that's true.
So one of the comments, I actually took some screenshots so I could answer some great comments and questions.
Because we have no service down here.
Yeah, there's no service here. Leslie Cahill talked about running the pump up the hill to flush the pipe out to get the gunk out. That worked 1,000%. So
because initially we weren't getting a lot of flow.
I would say it would take about 12 hours to probably fill it. We never tested it. We never had a reason to test gallons per minute.
Looks like you do have service.
Yeah, I don't know how. So anyway, we never tested the gallons per minute. It was like a trickle. That advice from that video that I ended up doing is bringing this same Milwaukee pump, and yes, Milwaukee, not a sponsor yet. We used it and pumped water from the cistern up the pipe, and we ran it for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and then the pump made a different change in sound. And then now it's full flow coming out of there all the time, which is pretty awesome. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
One of the first questions that we got was about how do we get the water from the cistern or the IBC tote at the bottom of the hill and get it up to the IBC tote that currently is feeding our camper. And it's pretty simple. We're just using our truck. About every 3-4 days, maybe a week, just depending on our laundry situation, I come down and I fill the tank using the IBC tote in the back of the truck and then drive it up the hill. Is it ideal? No, not at all. But eventually we're going to end up getting a pump down here, and that'll make life a lot easier. But for right now, we're using the easiest thing that we can. Another one of the comments we actually had several of them, was about the idea of a ram pump, and I'm not opposed to maybe trying that in the spring. So our long-term thinking is probably in the springtime. I've been shopping, maybe working on maybe a potential sponsorship about getting a solar well pump, so we could have water collected here, have the solar well pump, this act as a shallow well with our cistern, and then feed the pipe all the way to our house at the top of the hill. Still working through that, still working through the schematics. I've never done anything like this before. I've never had to do anything like this before, so I'm going off the advice of experts and honestly, like people like you guys answering and responding in the comments. So that's kind of our long-term solution, is with that with the solar well pump. So I'm not necessarily looking at a ram pump, but it wasn't a bad idea at all for the amount of flow that we have now. Because when I dove into that whole ram pump world, we did not have enough GPMs to be able to move water up the hill.
Before we cleared the pipe. Because there was a bunch of sediment. I mean, it was like black water coming out of there.
Right.
So yeah, now we have a lot of flow.
Lots of comments about ponds.
Oh, I guess that's something. I don't know if we actually have ever turned the camera for you guys.
Turn the camera.
They haven't really seen the pond, have they?
I guess not.
So we have always put you over here, which is where the spring comes down the mountain. We haven't turned it to the pond. So this is a huge, huge pond. It is fully stocked with fish.
We'll turn the camera that way. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea. In the fall when we first moved here, I mean, you could throw a hook out with nothing and catch fish.
That's a bit dramatic.
It was pretty.
That's a bit dramatic.
It's very stocked. According to what we've been told, it also is like 25 feet deep towards the middle. So it obviously has ice on it right now, but you can see where the water comes in and then it's open where the water flows out too. So it is a really nice pond. We're gonna do like some not upgrades, but we're gonna do some microflora, is that the right word? Multiflora. We're gonna do some multiflora.
Get the thesaurus out on that one. I feel like that's a stretch.
Around the pond and kind of clean up the vegetation a little bit and just kind of make it a little bit more inviting, because right now it's full of thorns and you don't really want to go up close to it. So, but yeah, that's the pond, guys.
Which actually is completely spring fed. Our spring that we tapped, we believe, is one of 3 that come into this pond.
One of 4.
Well, 1 of 4, 1 of 3, doesn't matter, technicality again.
Well, but it's just, there are a lot of springs right here. We are very fortunate to be where we are and to be managing a property like this where there are so many springs coming into one place. So
that's fair.
Yeah, just wanted to make that clarification.
You're fine.
How long does it take this to fill?
An hour.
I know, I was asking for the camera.
Oh. How long? Oh, because you don't ever come do it with me, right?
I don't.
It takes about an hour. So
I didn't say that very loud.
You're fine.
So, because I'm usually staying at the camper up at the top of the mountain with the kids, Paul will come down here to do water.
And video edit, typically.
And, yeah. How long does it usually take to go from 275 gallons to 275 gallons using a Milwaukee pump?
Not sponsored yet. This Milwaukee pump is pretty cool. It's a 3/4 inch intake and outlet, but it does about an hour to fill 275 gallons. It's just using a standard piece of the black poly pipe that we had, and I put a 2-inch coupler on the receiving end.
Which was an upgrade.
The receiving end that goes down in there to basically make sure I'm getting the max amount of flow the pipe can hold.
Because initially it was just the black poly pipe you put in there, and it would take like 3 hours to fill.
It takes me about 3 full batteries of my Milwaukee batteries to fill it. So it's not ideal. That's why we're also looking at longer term solutions and honestly the trucking part of it. Because like days like today, where we've had some warm days, melting the ice and snow, it kind of makes it a bear to get out of here.
And this is also a culvert, so we are being very careful. Please know that we are being careful when we drive over this. We are not tearing it up on purpose or being haphazard with it. We want to make sure that this lasts forever, and we will be upgrading it in the spring, probably putting gravel down just to build it back up. But that is one of the bad things about right now is we can't really get anything down here to do that at the moment. So
let me ask you the question that I know we got a lot, Olivia and I, the science girl. How's the water? How did it test out?
Really good. So maybe another video we can cover like what we do with it after this, but we have a UV filter in our camper that filters the water from the IBC tote into our camper, and then from there we have a whole home filter that is our drinking water, and that whole home filter goes down to 0.5 microns. So if, God forbid, some bad bug got through the light, it's gonna be trapped in the filter. So the water tastes phenomenal. It is really, really good. I'm so glad to be on spring water. I grew up with well water that was very rich in iron, and this is just delectable.
I will say too, the other thing that I wanted to do that didn't work out, and I think we had some comments about it, was our first catch spring box.
Yeah.
So I know there's a company out there that manufactures and sells like all of the things for tapping springs, but it felt insane to spend, I'm not trying to call them out, but $300 for like a bucket to put a filter in feels a little high priced. So I tried to makeshift my own out of like a Craftsman tote, basically, that wasn't tall enough.
For the filter.
For the filter.
Yeah.
So that was a hindsight on my part. But it's been a really good first catch system. I've only had to clean it one time, and that was after the first Arctic blast. Or no?
No, it was a big windstorm.
It was just a big windstorm, and basically it just knocked the whole bucket over. So it wasn't even catching water. And then when I looked in there, it was full of leaves at the bottom. So it's catching big stuff, and then not catching the fine sediment like I was hoping it to do. So maybe in the future or this spring, I could go in and upgrade that to a better version. Maybe I can do a 5-gallon bucket, or like a true 5-gallon bucket or something. It was just kind of one of those things. We went to Lowe's and it was trying to slap it together to make it work.
Also, as clear as the water is, I mean, we can give you we can pan a shot here to inside the IBC tote, and it is crystal clear. There is nothing really at the bottom at all. Maybe a little bit of grime from whatever minerals are in the water, but otherwise it is clean and clear. So we were like, where do we want our efforts to go to at this point when we're coming into winter? Do we want to mess with this box that we're trying to just piece together as we go? Or do we want to let it be the way that it is right now, and we'll figure something out like that at another time? And so we decided it'll be at another time. Once we get moved into the house and get water into there, we'll have another filter system that will filter it a little bit clearer. But as of right now, it's doing a really good job, and it really doesn't even warrant an extra filter, I don't think. We've made it this long.
That's true.
No one's sick.
You do look a little green. Just joking. God.
A little radioactive.
Thank you for watching. I hope this gave you a quick update on our water situation. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We will see you in the next video.